We wish to discuss two elements of conscious creation, embracing change and surrendering judgment. Humanity is fascinated by the past and the future. Both capture your imagination so much that they continue to be major themes in popular entertainment. At the same time, the human ego tends to perceive current conditions as the way things should be. Its job is to have faith in the physical world and to try to perpetuate what is familiar. But despite the ego's desire to keep things constant, the human experience demands continuous change. It's what you signed up for at birth, and it's what you desire at the soul level. The human who is awake to their true nature does not resist change. They also hold no judgment about the past or fear for the future. Judgment is what causes you to perceive a difference between one condition and another, and it defines how you relate to just about everything in the physical plane, even the small things. For example, the traffic light was red and now it's green. If you were sitting at the red light and waiting for it to change, some part of you judges the green light to be better. When you reach enlightened consciousness, all judgment ceases. Everything is perceived simply as divine love, manifest in a particular physical creation. And because divine love is your true nature, you understand that you are one with all of creation, truly one, not separate from any of it. What happened 100 years ago? What will the earth look like in 100 years from now? You become aware that it is all the same energy directed into forms that come and go, while the underlying energy that gives rise to these forms is unceasing. You've heard many times that everything is energy vibrating at a certain frequency. But what is that energy? It is quite simply divine love, the creative power of the universe. Humanity often gets hung up on that word love because of what you think it means. You associate it with the feeling of romantic love or the love between friends and family, and it certainly is that, but it is so much more. Divine love is a powerful creative force that each and every human is constantly directing into the physical plane, whether you realize it or not. It's what gives rise to all that you see and experience. When directed through the consciousness of millions of people who agree about how the world works, what is desirable, what is to be avoided, etc., divine love responds with the outward manifestation of those agreed conditions, objects, and events. This is law, and therefore it always works, regardless of whether or not you are focused on things that will truly make you happy. Now, you will hear many people around you and in the media saying many things that don't sound at all like your concept of love. Much of it is unkind, boastful, or vindictive, all attributes of fear, which is the opposite of love. Regardless, these unwanted things all draw upon the same creative force of divine love. It's just a matter of how the force is directed through your free choice. And as you know, humanity, in its confusion, chooses to use the force of divine love to create some pretty undesirable things. To illustrate, think about baking your favorite cookies. The potential for delicious treats is inherent in the recipe. If you focus intently on creating the perfect batch of cookies, taking care to add all the ingredients in the right order and amount, making sure your oven is the correct temperature, and watching them closely while they bake, then it's highly likely you'll achieve a result you and others will feel great about. But if you're distracted by other things while you bake, thinking about the past or future, allowing yourself to be tossed about by worry, anger, regret, or doubt, you could very easily miss a step and add too much or too little of a key ingredient, or leave the cookies in the oven too long, all leading to disappointing results. The recipe and its potential for a wonderful experience remains constant, but your consciousness, when you engage with it, determines whether that potential is fully realized. In the same way, humanity chooses to direct the perfect potential of divine love into countless creations that disappoint you. You perpetuate these creations because they are what you know, and it all seems so real that you cannot conceive of it being any other way. It's as though you've been served enough burnt cookies in your life that you believe a certain amount of unwanted conditions are necessary. Then you judge your creations and heap blame on yourself and others. How could I have been so stupid, you think, or how can they be so misguided? Things would be so much better if they would only just... And you can fill in the blank with your own ideas about what needs to change. But we are here to tell you that humanity was never intended to endure any amount of unwanted creation. Struggle was never the plan. The enlightened ones among you know this and are able to observe creation as spirit does, without judgment. They know everything is divine love being directed into form by human thought and emotion. They understand that they are not separate from what they are observing, no matter how unwanted it may be. And because of this understanding, the enlightened ones feel no fear about any of it. When a familiar thing changes or goes away, the enlightened ones know that nothing has really changed. For example, when social values evolve, they don't say, "Things aren't what they used to be. I don't understand how things are nowadays, and I don't like it." Instead, they know that the same creative force that gave rise to the paradigms of 50, 100, or 1,000 years ago is the same creative force driving the shifts of today and tomorrow. Thus, the enlightened ones remain unattached to any particular paradigm and embrace all change that leads to a more inclusive, respectful, and loving humanity. Despite their progressive outlook, many who consider themselves spiritual remain attached to certain paradigms and conditions because they, like most of humanity, gravitate toward the familiarity of the physical world. The home they live in, the clothes they wear, the food they eat, the car they drive, the people they talk to every day, all of it is very familiar and therefore seems correct. And because of this, there is a tendency to interpret the spiritual realm through the lens of the physical world, to try to understand spirit through the paradigms, structures, and beliefs that are commonly accepted as reality in the physical world. We recommend that you flip it. Instead of living through the perspective of, "I am in a physical body, experiencing these things that I have come to identify with and enjoy, but I'm trying to live a spiritual life," say instead, "I am a powerful spiritual being with a perspective of spirit guiding my life, regardless of what surrounds me. I do not judge what is, even if it is something I seek to change. And I do not resist change, even if I like the way things are. I know that all physical creation is constantly evolving, and I remain focused on using my tremendous creative power to express more divine love in the world in ways that will uplift all of humanity. I seek for all of humanity to know their own power of creation, and I model how to consciously use that power to create a benevolent world of joy and abundance. And if that requires dissolving all that I believe to be true about the physical world, then I embrace that change." There truly is no difference between what exists on the other side of the veil and what you observe in the physical realm. Humanity only perceives it as different because the process of physical manifestation depends on the stepping down of divine love into a lower density. This perception leads spiritual people to aspire to rise up into higher consciousness. However, with a clear perspective, you can see that all creation is one and the same. Think of an ink pen. With that pen, you could create on paper whatever you desire. You could draw something beautiful like a field of flowers or a portrait of someone you love. You could draw complex geometric patterns or mathematical equations. You could write uplifting affirmations. On the other hand, you could draw a weapon. You could draw that weapon being used against somebody. And you could draw the horror and agony on the victim's face. Whatever you choose to create with that pen, who or what is responsible for the creation? It's not the pen, the ink, or the paper. They simply represent potential for creative expression. It is the physical mind and its thoughts, emotions, and beliefs that determine how that potential is expressed. And it is the physical mind that judges the expression. This is how it is with divine love in the hands of human consciousness. Everything you see and experience in your life is created by the physical mind exerting its free will upon the potential of divine love, just as everything expressed on the paper is chosen by the mind using the pen. In the same way, if you pick up a hammer, drive a nail into a wall, and then hang a picture on it, the hammer, nail, wall, and picture are all divine love that has been directed into different physical forms by human consciousness. Humanity directs divine love into many creations that are uplifting to the heart and mind. Other creations reflect darkness and confusion, causing you to wonder, why does God allow this darkness to exist? But as we have said many times, God does not get in the way of your creations, just as the pen does not try to stop what the individual draws with it. Once a creation is manifest, the human tendency toward maintaining the familiar is where you start to limit yourselves in a way that God never does. When you judge something to be wanted and appropriate, you either try to make sure everyone else sees it that way and aspires to the same, or you call it scarce and try to keep it for yourself and a select few. Conversely, when you judge something to be unwanted or inappropriate, you try to keep it away from everyone, or at least from those that you care about. All of this is an attempt to keep things familiar and comfortable. But there will never be one way of living, and you will never stop the onward roll of change. Our advice is to stop trying. Instead, allow divine love to flow where it will when you approach it with a sense of reverence, wonder, and positive expectation. Through this lens, even radical change can become exciting. Although your physical mind may not yet comprehend this, it will become more clear as you consciously align with the pure vibration of unqualified divine love. Now, what do we mean by unqualified? We mean divine love that has not yet been directed into physical form, whether a hammer or a political ideology or a judgment about the younger generation's habits and values. If you can accept that divine love is the basis for everything in creation, even those things you judge to be bad or that you want to do away with, then you have the potential to understand how powerful this creative force is and that you are indeed one with it. Ask for a deeper understanding. Take 10 minutes every day or more if possible to sit, breathe, and affirm your oneness with divine love. As you affirm, connect with the feeling of oneness. It may come right away or it may take a little bit of time depending on your energetic set point, but we promise you that the more you practice, the stronger your conscious connection to the power of divine love will be. As it grows, so will your ability to create the life you wish to live, regardless of what anyone else is up to. That's how the creative power of divine love works. Each person gets to decide for themselves how to direct it in their lives, completely separate from anyone else's creation. As we have said, the universe is always pushing clarity and abundance of all good things toward you, but you decide whether or not you are open to the flow. Consider a gate that keeps things in and out of your yard. As long as the gate is latched shut, it will not swing open in the force of the wind. But if you unlatch the gate, the wind will push it open. That's how the flow of divine love can work in your life. Judgment keeps the gate latched. Reverence, curiosity, positive expectation, and conscious focus unlatch it. If you can learn to trust that what is trying to get through the gate might actually surpass all that you are trying to contain within it, then those benevolent things will begin to flow more easily to you. Take the first step by shifting your perspective to allow for change without judgment, and you will be met by spirit. Deeper awareness and insights about your vast creative potential will reveal themselves. Before long, you will realize, oh my gosh, this is actually true. I am a powerful, creative force in this world. You will understand that your creative power is divine love, and that indeed you are divine love in human form. And once you have tasted this enlightened consciousness, you will not want to be a part of any lower vibration creations. You will say without judgment, that's all fine for them, but I choose to own my power and direct it into the joyful conditions that I desire for myself and for the world. And when you reach up into this understanding, it will come to meet you, pressing upon you that which you seek. Ask and you will receive, promises your scriptures. Knock and the door will be opened. You are God's. All that the masters have done you will also do and more. Do you doubt this? Why not dare to put it to the test? From that place of elevated awareness, change will be a non-event. Whatever anybody else is doing will be a non-event. And neither will frighten you. If you wish to no longer be troubled by the things in your world that you judge to be negative or by changes you don't understand, you must raise your frequency to the point where Divine Spirit can meet you as a conscious co-creator rather than an unconscious one. That's when the fear falls away, regardless of what's going on around you, and that's when the flow of desirable circumstances becomes stronger and faster. So practice this. If you do nothing else, say the following with feeling, and while visualizing and feeling a warm, bright light in your heart center. I am divine love. I am divine love. I am divine love. Then branch out to affirm the many attributes of divine love, such as I am divine compassion, I am divine forgiveness, I am divine abundance, and I am divine joy. Do this for at least 10 minutes a day and watch how your perspective starts to shift. Watch how your fear starts to dissolve, including your fear of change and your fear of things happening to you outside your control. When enough of humanity comes to realize this, you'll stop arguing over ideologies. You may still stand at podiums and debate, but you will debate from the perspective of the higher self. Your focus will not be to win the argument, but rather to achieve the highest possible outcomes for everyone. And then you will work your mechanisms, financial, political, religious, and cultural, to truly achieve those outcomes. You will no longer fear that all is lost if you don't get your way. You will trust in the power of divine love to manifest benevolent outcomes for all, and your debates will simply be about the optimal plan to realize it. This is where humanity is headed, so start practicing now. Yes, you must have faith because this is not how things seem to be right now. Reach for faith and put it to the test. 10 minutes a day, I am divine love. Feel it and ask with focused intent for the true power of divine love to reveal itself more clearly. The truth of who you are is so much bigger than most of humanity currently comprehends, so practice diligently and watch with patient expectation. We promise you will not have to wait long for demonstrations that affirm you are on the right path. We wish you blessings on your journey.